Welcome to World Information HD, your trusted source for amazing discoveries and hidden treasures from around the world. In today's video, we'll uncover the top 8 most valuable and rare USA Lincoln pennies and Washington quarter dollar coins that could be worth millions of dollars. These extraordinary coins are more than just pocket change, they're pieces of history that collectors dream of finding. Stay tuned, because one of these rare coins might even be sitting in your collection right now. Today, we're exploring one of the most captivating coins from the mid-1960s, the 1966 no-mint mark Washington quarter dollar. This coin is not only a part of American history but also a shining example of how small details in coinage can turn an ordinary-looking quarter into a highly sought-after treasure. For collectors, the 1966 Washington quarter represents more than just 25 cents. It's a piece of a turbulent period in U.S. monetary history, one filled with economic shifts, changes in coin production, and decisions that altered the way coins were minted forever. To understand why the 1966 no-mint mark quarter stands out, we first need to step back and take a look at the story of the Washington quarter itself. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932, designed by sculptor John Flanagan to commemorate the 200th birthday of the first U.S. President, George Washington. It quickly became a permanent part of circulation. Originally, these quarters were made of 90% silver, giving them not only spending power but also intrinsic metal value. Fast forward to the early 1960s, and America was facing a coinage crisis. Rising silver prices made it increasingly expensive for the U.S. Mint to continue producing coins with such a high silver content. By 1964, the government realized that if something wasn't done, the nation would face widespread coin shortages. People were hoarding coins for their silver value, and the mint couldn't keep up with demand. This crisis led to one of the most significant changes in U.S. coinage history: the removal of silver from circulating dimes, quarters, and half dollars. Starting in 1965, the Washington quarter transitioned from being 90% silver to being made of a clad composition, an inner core of pure copper, sandwiched between two outer layers of copper nickel. The result was a silvery appearance without the costly silver content. The 1966 Washington quarter falls right into this historic transition period. But what makes it special is not just the change in composition, it's the fact that in 1965, 1966, and 1967, the U.S. Mint made a very unusual decision. During these 3 years, none of the coins struck for circulation bore mint marks. Normally, coins struck in Philadelphia carried no mark. Denver coins had a D, and San Francisco coins carried an S. But to discourage coin collecting, which the mint believed was worsening the coin shortage, they decided to omit mint marks altogether. This meant that no matter where your quarter was struck, it looked exactly the same. The 1966 no-mint mark quarter, therefore, is not an error, it's the official design of that year. Yet for collectors, this decision adds a layer of mystery and significance. It's one of only 3 years in modern history where mint marks were deliberately removed, making the coins of 1965, 1966, and 1967 especially intriguing. Now, let's focus on the details of this fascinating coin. The obverse, or front, of the quarter features the familiar bust of George Washington, designed by John Flanagan back in 1932. Washington faces left, with the word, Liberty, above his head and the national motto, In God We Trust, placed just under his chin. At the bottom, you'll see the year of issue, 1966. What you won't see, of course, is a mint mark, since none were included that year. Flip the coin over, and the reverse design presents a bold, striking image of a heraldic eagle with outstretched wings, perched upon a bundle of arrows, symbolizing strength and readiness. Below the arrows rests an olive branch, representing peace. Surrounding the eagle is the inscription, United States of America, and E pluribus unum, along with the denomination, quarter dollar, at the bottom. It's a classic, powerful design that remained unchanged until 1999, when the 50-state quarters program began. From a composition standpoint, The 1966 Washington quarter is made of a copper-nickel-clad alloy, weighing 5.67 grams and measuring 24.3 millimeters in diameter. While it lacks silver, its value lies in rarity, condition, and the historical context of its minting point. One of the most exciting aspects of the 1966 quarter for collectors is the existence of special mint sets, or SMS coins. Since the government suspended regular proof sets during this period, they instead produced these special mint sets, which were struck with greater care than circulation coins but not quite to the same standard as proofs. Coins from these SMS sets often exhibit sharper details and a shinier surface, making them stand out from their circulation counterparts. Collectors prize these coins, particularly those in pristine condition. Errors and varieties from the 1966 quarter also add to its intrigue. Some coins display doubling on the obverse inscriptions, while others may have striking issues such as die breaks or off-center strikes. These minting anomalies can significantly increase a coin's desirability and value. Collectors are always on the lookout for unusual characteristics that set one coin apart from the millions of others struck that year. So why does the 1966 no mint mark quarter command attention today? Beyond its role in the coinage crisis, its scarcity in high grades makes it especially valuable. While millions of quarters were produced in 1966, most were heavily circulated, leaving few survivors in truly exceptional condition. Coins graded mint state 65 or higher are rare, and examples with deep cameo or proof-like surfaces from special mint sets are even rarer. Over the decades, the coin collecting community has recognized the 1966 quarter as a vital piece of numismatic history. It tells the story of a time when the U.S. Mint took drastic measures to address a nationwide problem, leaving behind coins that reflect both the challenges and creativity of that era. For collectors today, owning such a coin is like holding a piece of that moment in American history. Let's also consider the cultural significance. The Washington quarter was already a familiar sight in every pocket by 1966. Families used these coins for groceries, children dropped them into gumball machines, and travelers fed them into payphones and parking meters. But while most people never gave their quarters a second thought, today we look back and see how unique this year truly was. Imagine pulling a 1966 quarter from your change today. It might look ordinary to the untrained eye, but for a collector, it could represent hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on its condition. And for a rare example in gem quality, the value skyrockets even higher. When we examine auction records, we find that collectors are willing to pay remarkable sums for the best of the best. A perfectly preserved coin, with flawless surfaces and stunning eye appeal, can command a price far beyond what most would expect for a quarter. And now, we arrive at the most thrilling part, the value. While ordinary circulated 1966 quarters are still worth face value, and higher grade examples can bring in anywhere from a few dollars to several hundred, there exists a spectacular gem quality 1966 no mint mark Washington quarter that once reached an astonishing price at auction. That incredible figure was $37,775. Welcome to World Information HD, where today we're diving deep into the fascinating world of American coins, history, and hidden treasures that may be sitting right in your pocket without you even realizing it. In this episode, we will focus on one specific coin that has been creating curiosity among collectors for years: the United States of America 1977 D mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny. Now, you might be thinking, it's just a penny, how valuable could it really be? But as we've seen many times in numismatics, which is the study and collection of currency, not all coins are created equal. Some ordinary-looking pennies have extraordinary stories, and the 1977 Denver Mint penny is one of those intriguing examples. Whether you're a seasoned collector, a casual enthusiast, or simply someone who stumbled upon this coin in your change jar, this story will keep you glued until the very end. Let's start with the backdrop. The year 1977 wasn't so long ago, but in terms of American coinage, it represents a fascinating period. The Lincoln penny had already been in circulation for nearly 7 decades, first introduced in 1909 to honor President Abraham Lincoln on his centennial birthday. Designed by Victor David Brenner, The Lincoln penny was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person, and it quickly became one of the most iconic and enduring coins in American history. By 1977, the penny had gone through a number of small design changes, but the fundamental look remained familiar. Lincoln's dignified profile on the obverse side, facing right, with the word Liberty, the motto, In God We Trust, and of course the date, 1977. The reverse side still carried the Lincoln Memorial, a design introduced in 1959 to celebrate Lincoln's 150th birthday. If you look closely at the back of this penny, you can actually see a tiny figure of Lincoln seated inside the memorial, a detail many people never notice. The Denver Mint, indicated by the D Mint mark right beneath the date, played a major role in producing these pennies. In fact, hundreds of millions of them were struck that year. With such a high mintage, you might assume that every 1977 D penny is common and worth no more than face value. For the most part, that's true. Most circulated examples you'll find in everyday change are only worth a cent. But as every collector knows, it's the exceptions, the small errors, and the unusual conditions that transform an everyday coin into something worth serious money. Now, what makes the 1977 D penny stand out to collectors? There are a few key factors. First, minting errors. The minting process is a massive industrial operation, and while the U.S. Mint is known for its precision, mistakes do happen. A doubled die, off-center strike, or even a die crack can add significant value to a coin. For example, some 1977 D pennies display doubling on the date or lettering, which can increase their desirability among collectors. Similarly, an off-center strike, where part of the design is missing because the coin wasn't aligned properly, can also command a premium. Second, condition matters enormously. Coin collectors use a grading system to evaluate a coin's quality, ranging from poor to mint state. A 1977 D penny that's been in circulation for decades will show signs of wear, scratches, discoloration, and fading of details. These coins usually remain at face value. But a 1977 D penny preserved in near-perfect condition, what collectors call uncirculated, or mint state, can be worth far more. The sharpness of Lincoln's portrait, the shine of the original luster, and the absence of blemishes all contribute to a higher grade and therefore a higher value. Imagine this. While one 1977 D penny might only be worth a cent, another in pristine condition could be valued at hundreds or even thousands of dollars. That's why collectors constantly search through rolls of pennies from banks, estate sales, and auctions, hoping to stumble upon that one extraordinary piece. Another point worth mentioning is the historical charm. The Lincoln penny has always carried a sense of nostalgia and national pride. People are drawn to it not just because of its monetary value, but because it connects us to history. Think about how many hands a single penny may have passed through since 1977. Decades of small purchases, childhood piggy banks, and lucky pennies kept in wallets. Each coin carries a story, and that adds to its allure. But back to the 1977 D penny specifically. One of the most important things collectors look for is rarity. While most of the pennies minted in Denver that year are common, there are rare variations. Certain striking errors, unusual die breaks, and high-grade specimens certified by professional grading services have shocked even experienced numismatists by fetching impressive sums at auctions. Consider this. Grading services such as PCGS and NGC carefully examine coins and assign them a grade on the Sheldon scale, which ranges from 1 to 70. A grade of 70 represents a perfect, flawless coin. A 1977 D penny graded MS65 or higher, meaning it's in gem condition with strong luster and no visible marks, can be worth exponentially more than a regular coin. Collectors are willing to pay high premiums to add such pristine coins to their collections. Let's also talk about how the market for coins has been growing. In recent years, there's been a resurgence of interest in coin collecting. The internet has made it easier for collectors to connect, trade, and bid on rare coins. Auction houses frequently report record-breaking sales, and pennies like the 1977 D have benefited from this renewed attention. What once might have been dismissed as pocket change is now considered a potential treasure. So, how can you tell if your 1977 penny is valuable? Here are some practical tips. First, check the condition. Does the coin have sharp details, a bright coppery shine, and no major scratches? If so, it may be uncirculated and worth having graded. Second, look closely for errors. A magnifying glass can help spot doubling, die cracks, or other anomalies. Third, consider having your coin professionally graded and encapsulated by a trusted service. A coin in a protective holder with an official grade often sells for far more than a raw coin because buyers trust the certification. It's also important to remember that the coin market can fluctuate. The value of coins depends not only on rarity and condition but also on demand. As more people become interested in collecting, the competition for top-grade coins increases, pushing values higher. That's why holding on to a special 1977 penny, especially one in exceptional condition, could be a smart move for the future. Collectors often compare finding a valuable penny to winning a miniature lottery. You might sort through hundreds of coins that are only worth face value, but then suddenly you come across one that stands out. That thrill of discovery is part of what makes numismatics so addictive and rewarding. The story of the 1977 Lincoln penny is a reminder that sometimes the smallest objects hold the greatest surprises. It's a simple copper coin, something most of us overlook every day, yet under the right circumstances, it can carry incredible worth. And that brings us to the most exciting part, the value that has shocked many collectors and continues to be talked about. Yes, while most 1977 Lincoln 1-cent pennies remain at their ordinary value, there exists a particular high-grade, exceptional example of this coin that reached a staggering auction record. The price realized for that penny was $29,378. Welcome back to World Information HD, where we dive deep into the fascinating stories behind the most valuable and rare coins from the United States of America. Today, we're going to explore a coin that at first glance looks like something you might still see in your pocket change, but for collectors and coin experts, it holds an incredible story and a shocking value. We're talking about the 1978 no-mint mark Washington quarter dollar. Now, before we reveal its actual worth, let's journey through its history, design, and the reasons why such a common-looking coin can be worth a fortune. Stay with me until the end, because you'll be amazed when you hear how much this piece of American change is truly valued at. Let's begin with the history of the Washington quarter itself. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The U.S. Mint wanted to honor the first president of the United States with a coin that would replace the standing Liberty quarter, which had been minted since 1916. Sculptor John Flanagan's design was chosen, and it became one of the most recognized coin designs in American history. Washington's profile, facing left, was placed on the obverse side, while the reverse featured a heraldic eagle with wings spread wide. Over time, this quarter design became a symbol of American currency that millions of people handled every day. By 1978, the Washington quarter had already been in circulation for more than 4 decades. During this time, the coin had undergone changes, particularly in its metal composition. Earlier quarters minted before 1965 were made of 90% silver, but by the mid-1960s, the rising cost of silver forced the U.S. Mint to change the composition. From 1965 onward, Washington quarters were produced with a copper-nickel-clad composition, meaning a copper core was sandwiched between 2 layers of nickel. This change allowed the Mint to continue striking millions of quarters without relying on precious metals. So, what makes the 1978 Washington quarter special, especially those without a mint mark? Let's dig deeper. In 1978, quarters were struck at 2 main facilities, the Philadelphia Mint and the Denver Mint. Coins from Denver bear the letter D mint mark, while those from Philadelphia traditionally carried no mint mark. This means if you find a 1978 quarter with no mint mark under the date, it was minted in Philadelphia. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Most collectors see Philadelphia quarters as common, because the absence of a mint mark was standard practice before the 1980s. However, certain errors, special strikes, or unusually well-preserved examples from 1978 can make these coins incredibly rare and desirable. To understand why, let's look at how minting works. When coins are struck, they are produced in massive quantities, tens of millions at a time. Any small error in the die, in the striking process, or even in the metal planchet can create unique coins that collectors hunt for. Some errors include doubled dies, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, or missing design elements. These mistakes transform an ordinary coin into a highly collectible piece. For the 1978 no-mint mark Washington Quarter, certain examples are known for their sharp strikes, pristine conditions, and unusual survival in uncirculated form. While billions of people have spent and handled these coins over the years, very few have survived without scratches, wear, or damage. That's what makes some of them stand out in the collector's market. Let's think about it for a moment. How many quarters do you believe you've used in your lifetime? Probably hundreds, maybe thousands. Most of us don't even glance at the date or the tiny details. Yet, hidden among those ordinary coins could be a gem worth thousands. The 1978 quarter serves as a reminder that treasures still exist in everyday pocket change. Collectors prize coins based on several factors: rarity, demand, condition, and historical significance. The 1978 no-mint mark quarter may not sound rare at first, but when you consider coins that have been carefully preserved in pristine condition, graded by professional services, or discovered with special characteristics, the rarity becomes clear. High-grade coins graded mint state 65 or higher by services such as PCGS or NGC can command huge premiums at auctions. Let's also explore the design itself, because collectors don't just see monetary value, they also appreciate the artistry of coins. On the obverse, Washington's portrait is bold yet simple, a timeless representation of America's founding father. His gaze is strong, his hair tied back in a classical style, and beneath his profile is the date 1978. Just above his head are the words, Liberty, and to the left, the national motto, In God We Trust. It's a design that has remained deeply familiar to Americans for generations. On the reverse, the eagle stands with wings spread, clutching a bundle of arrows, symbolizing strength and defense, while olive branches beneath represent peace. Surrounding this are the inscriptions, United States of America, and E pluribus unum, meaning, out of many, one. The denomination, quarter dollar, sits at the bottom. The balance of peace and power embodied in the design makes it one of the most striking coins in circulation. Now let's take a closer look at the coin market. Why do collectors pay such high amounts for certain coins? The answer lies in a mixture of rarity and passion. Coins tell stories. They're little time capsules from history. When collectors invest in coins like the 1978 quarter, they're not just buying a piece of metal. They're buying a connection to America's past, a symbol of craftsmanship, and in many cases, a work of art. Auctions and private sales have shown us that when the right coin appears, competition among collectors can drive the price sky high. Imagine being the person who discovers a flawless 1978 no-mint mark Washington quarter in their old change jar or tucked away in a coin collection passed down by a family member. That single coin could change someone's financial life. There's also an emotional factor. Many collectors started young, perhaps saving coins from their allowance or searching through change with their parents or grandparents. A coin like the 1978 quarter can rekindle nostalgia and a sense of discovery, which only adds to its value. Now, here's something to keep in mind: not every 1978 quarter is valuable. In fact, the vast majority are only worth face value, 25 cents. But the special ones, the rare survivors in nearly perfect condition, or those with unusual minting traits, are the ones collectors will pay top dollar for. That's why coin grading is so important. A professional grading service can authenticate and certify the condition of a coin, giving it legitimacy in the market and boosting its potential value dramatically. So, let's imagine the journey of one such coin. A pristine 1978 no-mint mark quarter is struck in Philadelphia. Somehow, it avoids entering circulation. Maybe it was saved in a collector's set, maybe it was overlooked in a bank roll and stored away safely. decades pass. The coin remains untouched, free from scratches, dings, or wear. One day, a coin enthusiast rediscovers it and sends it for grading. The grading service assigns it a high mint state rating. Suddenly, this ordinary-looking quarter becomes a rare treasure. When it reaches auction, passionate collectors compete, each determined to add it to their collection. The final hammer price shocks everyone. That's the magic of coin collecting. Ordinary objects becoming extraordinary treasures through time, preservation, and passion. Now, let's circle back to the star of today's story. The 1978 no-mint mark Washington quarter dollar may appear like any other coin in circulation, but under the right circumstances, it can command an incredible value. And this brings us to the big question you've been waiting for. How much is one of these coins worth in the highest grade, in the rarest condition, in the most desirable form to collectors? The answer will leave you stunned. A 1978 no-mint mark Washington quarter dollar, in pristine condition and recognized for its rarity, has been valued at $43,466. Welcome back to World Information HD, the channel where knowledge meets curiosity, and where history, money, and mystery come together to reveal hidden treasures that most people walk past every single day without even realizing it. Today, we are diving deep into the story of one small coin that has left collectors, historians, and everyday people amazed. We are talking about the United States of America 1982 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny. At first glance, it looks like just another ordinary penny that you might find resting at the bottom of a drawer, lying on the floor, or jingling around in your pocket change. But this coin carries with it a story of transition, error, rarity, and ultimately, incredible value. The Lincoln cent is a coin that almost everyone in the United States has seen. It has been around for over a century, and its design featuring Abraham Lincoln on the obverse has become iconic. However, few coins in the Lincoln cent series carry the kind of intrigue and collector demand as the 1982 no-mint mark penny. To understand why this little coin became so special, we need to look back at the historical background of the early 1980s and why 1982 was such a pivotal year for the Lincoln cent. For decades, the Lincoln cent was struck using a copper composition. This meant that each cent contained about 95% copper and 5% zinc and tin. But by the early 1980s, the rising cost of copper caused a serious problem for the U.S. Mint. The intrinsic metal value of the coin was approaching, and in some cases even surpassing, its face value. In simple terms, it was becoming more expensive to produce a penny than the penny was actually worth. This financial imbalance pushed the Mint to take action. In 1982, the Mint made a major change in the composition of the Lincoln cent. The old copper-based coin was replaced by a much cheaper zinc-based coin. The new cents were made of 97.5% zinc and coated with a thin plating of copper to preserve the traditional look. On the surface, the new penny looked almost identical to the old one, but underneath, it was very different. This sudden change in composition during the same year created an unusual situation where both copper and zinc cents were struck in 1982. And this is where the story of the 1982 no-mint mark Lincoln cent gets fascinating. During 1982, the Mint also produced pennies with different varieties of dates. Some were struck with large date numerals, and others with small date numerals. To add to the complexity, there were coins produced at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints. However, what truly sets the 1982 no-mint mark cent apart is its unique combination of features. Struck in Philadelphia, these coins did not carry a mint mark, which is standard for coins from that facility. But within this group, a certain variety emerged that would eventually become incredibly rare and valuable. Imagine the challenge this presents to collectors. In a single year, there were 7 different varieties of the Lincoln cent based on combinations of composition, mint, and date style. But it was the 1982 no-mint mark coin that became the centerpiece of attention because it demonstrated just how confusing and fascinating coin collecting can be. Now, let's take a closer look at what makes these coins stand out. First, the transition between copper and zinc created a situation where both types of metals were struck with the same date. This means that the same 1982 penny could weigh differently depending on whether it was struck in copper or in zinc. A copper cent weighs about 3.11 grams, while a zinc cent weighs around 2.5 grams. To the naked eye, they look identical, but a simple scale reveals which type you are holding. The small date and large date varieties add another layer of intrigue. To spot the difference, collectors look closely at the shape of the numbers in the year 1982. On a large date cent, the 2 in 1982 is more curvy and sits slightly higher, while on the small date, the 2 appears straighter and slightly lower. This tiny difference is what separates an ordinary penny from one that might be worth a fortune. But here is where the story takes a surprising twist. Among the 1982 no-mint mark cents, a rare variety was discovered, the 1982 D small date copper penny, which was not supposed to exist, along with the 1982 no-mint mark small date copper variety. These transitional errors slipped through production and entered circulation, leaving collectors stunned when they were later identified. Such coins are not just pennies. They are historical mistakes frozen in metal, artifacts of a year when the mint was struggling to adapt to economic changes. When collectors hear about such varieties, their hearts race. The thrill of possibly discovering one of these rare coins in pocket change is irresistible. And indeed, many people over the years have found themselves weighing their 1982 pennies, looking for the elusive and rare types. Most will find ordinary examples, but a lucky few have stumbled upon the rare no-mint mark variations that command high prices at auctions. Why do collectors and investors value these coins so highly? The answer lies in a combination of rarity, demand, and the story behind the coin. Coins that are born out of transition years are always more sought after, because they represent a moment of change in minting history. The 1982 no-mint mark penny is a coin that bridges the past and the future, linking the era of copper coinage with the era of zinc. And for those who understand the details, it becomes clear that this little coin is more than just change, it is a piece of American history. Auction houses have played a huge role in bringing attention to these rare coins. Over the years, examples of the 1982 no-mint mark penny have surfaced and been authenticated by professional grading companies. Once certified, their value skyrockets, because collectors trust the authority of grading and rarity listings. Some specimens in pristine condition, with minimal wear and sharp details, have sold for prices that most people would never believe a penny could achieve. Let's take a moment to imagine this scenario. You are sitting at home, sorting through a jar of old change that has been sitting on a shelf for decades. You pour out the coins and begin to separate the pennies from the rest. Most of them look ordinary, but then you spot a 1982 penny. You put it on a scale and realize it weighs more than expected. You look closer and see that it has no mint mark and appears to be a small date variety. In that moment, your ordinary day transforms into something extraordinary. What you hold in your hand is not just a penny, it is a treasure. The beauty of coin collecting is that it democratizes treasure hunting. Anyone, regardless of background or wealth, has the chance to discover something valuable. Unlike rare paintings or ancient artifacts that require specialized knowledge or deep pockets, coins are accessible to everyone. They pass through our hands every single day. And yet, within those small pieces of metal, there lies the possibility of a discovery that can change someone's life. The 1982 no-mint mark penny is one such discovery, hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone with a keen eye to notice. Collectors are also drawn to the 1982 penny because it challenges them to pay attention to the smallest details. To differentiate between large date and small date varieties, to measure weight, and to understand minting history requires patience and knowledge. And this is what makes the hobby of numismatics so rewarding. It teaches us to slow down, to look closely, and to appreciate the artistry and complexity behind something as simple as a 1-cent coin. Even outside the world of coin collecting, the 1982 penny tells an important story about American economics and history. It reminds us that even the smallest denomination in our currency system is affected by global markets, material costs, and government decisions. The fact that the mint had to switch from copper to zinc illustrates how interconnected our economy is, and how decisions that seem small at the time can have lasting consequences for collectors decades later. The United States of America 1982 no mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny is proof that value is not always tied to size or face value. This coin may be tiny, but its story looms large. For those who hold one, it represents a fascinating intersection of history, rarity, and luck. And for those who dream of finding one, it represents possibility. The possibility that treasure could be sitting unnoticed in the palm of your hand. So the next time you see a penny from 1982, don't dismiss it as ordinary. Take a closer look. Weigh it. Study the date. You never know when you might uncover a rare gem hiding in plain sight. Remember, history does not always come in grand monuments or sweeping events. Sometimes, history fits in your pocket. And as we conclude this journey through the story of the 1982 no mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny, it's important to mention that some of these rare examples have fetched astonishing sums at auction. One such coin has sold for as much as $31,002. Welcome to World Information HD, the channel where history, money, and fascinating stories about coins come alive. Today, we're diving deep into the world of American coinage, and our spotlight is on a coin that many people overlook, the 1990 mint mark Washington quarter dollar. At first glance, this coin looks like just another quarter you might find jingling around in your pocket or hiding at the bottom of your coin jar, but there's a lot more behind it than most people realize. From its history, design, and the minting process, all the way to the specific reasons why some of these quarters can be worth a small fortune, this story is both surprising and exciting. So, sit back as we explore everything about the 1990 Denver minted Washington quarter, and who knows, you may just find yourself checking your own collection of change by the end of this video. The Washington quarter has one of the most recognizable designs in American coinage. The obverse, or front, features the bust of George Washington, the first President of the United States. This design was originally created by John Flanagan and first appeared on the quarter in 1932 to commemorate the bicentennial of Washington's birth. Over the decades, the coin's design saw minor modifications, but the essence of Washington's portrait remained the same, a symbol of leadership, honor, and American identity. By 1990, the Washington quarter was a common sight in circulation. Millions were minted at different facilities across the country, including Philadelphia, San Francisco, and Denver. The 1990 quarter was minted in Denver, Colorado, and bears the small D mint mark on the obverse, just to the right of Washington's braid. At the time, these coins were produced for everyday use in commerce. They were struck by the millions, so most people never gave them a second thought. Yet, as coin collectors know, sometimes rarity and value hide in plain sight. The quarter itself is made from a copper-nickel-clad composition, which had been the standard since the mid-1960s when the United States stopped using silver in its quarters. Each coin weighs about 5.67 grams and has a diameter of 24.3 millimeters. To the untrained eye, it looks like any other modern quarter, but collectors search for specific features that can turn an ordinary 1990 quarter into a highly desirable and valuable coin. One of the reasons some 1990 quarters stand out is their condition. Coins that have been in circulation for years tend to show wear, scratches, loss of detail, fading luster. But if a coin has been preserved carefully, untouched and in mint state, it can be worth far more than its face value. Professional coin grading services, such as PCGS and NGC, use a scale from 1 to 70 to evaluate a coin's condition, with 70 representing a flawless coin. A 1990 quarter graded near the top of this scale can fetch significant prices at auction. Errors also play a massive role in determining value. When we think of minting millions of coins, we often assume that machines produce them all perfectly. But mistakes happen, and these mistakes are what collectors dream of finding. For example, a misaligned die, a double strike, or a missing clad layer could all result in a coin that looks unusual. Such errors are rare, and their rarity makes them valuable. The 1990 quarter is no exception. There are reports of off-center strikes and double die errors that have made their way into collections and sold for impressive amounts. Another important factor is demand. Coin collectors, or numismatists, thrive on chasing coins that complete a set. For someone collecting all the Washington quarters from the 20th century, a high-quality or era version of the 1990 mint mark could be the missing piece. And when demand meets rarity, prices skyrocket. Now let's talk about the historical context. In 1990, the world was at the end of the Cold War. Technology was advancing quickly, and the United States was entering a new decade full of change and optimism. Coins minted during this time capture a piece of that history, and for collectors, owning a quarter from 1990 isn't just about the metal, it's about holding a slice of American life from that era. Imagine the stories a single coin could tell, the vending machines it passed through, the hands it touched, the goods it bought, and the pockets it jingled in. Each coin carries a hidden journey, but not all coins are created equal. The United States Mint produced hundreds of millions of quarters in 1990, which means the vast majority are worth only their face value of 25 cents. The challenge lies in identifying the special ones, the quarters that are almost flawless, or the ones that left the mint with rare characteristics. These coins don't just sell for a little more than face value, they can go for thousands of dollars. It's worth noting that collectors today are more passionate than ever. With the rise of online marketplaces, auctions, and grading services, the ability to buy, sell, and authenticate coins has never been easier. A 1990 quarter that might have gone unnoticed years ago can now reach a global audience of buyers and enthusiasts. This expanded marketplace has driven prices higher, especially for rare examples. One of the most fascinating aspects of coin collecting is the thrill of the hunt. Imagine coming across a jar of old coins left behind by a relative, or stumbling on a quarter that just looks different from the rest. For many collectors, it begins with curiosity. And once they discover the true value of certain coins, it can spark a lifelong passion. The 1990 quarter has played that role for many, igniting interest in numismatics and showing that even coins minted in relatively recent decades can hold extraordinary value. Now, let's consider the artistry behind the design. John Flanagan's portrait of Washington remains one of the most enduring images on U.S. currency. On the reverse side of the 1990 quarter, you'll see the majestic bald eagle with outstretched wings, a symbol of freedom and strength. This reverse design had been used for decades and remains one of the most iconic depictions in American coinage. While many coins have seen design overhauls, the Washington quarter maintained this look until the State Quarters program launched in 1999, replacing the eagle with designs celebrating each state. That means the 1990 quarter is part of the last decade of classic Washington quarters, adding another layer of appeal for collectors. Collectors often emphasize the difference between coins that are ordinary and coins that are extraordinary. Ordinary coins pass from hand to hand unnoticed, while extraordinary coins are preserved, studied, and admired. The 1990 quarter can belong in either category, depending on its condition and characteristics. It is a coin that teaches us the importance of looking closely, of paying attention to details that others might overlook. For those interested in collecting, it's always important to handle coins with care. Using proper storage methods, like protective cases or albums, helps preserve their condition. Even the oils from human skin can affect the surface of a coin over time, so collectors often use gloves when handling valuable specimens. The marketplace for coins is always shifting. Some years see greater demand for certain coins, and prices can fluctuate depending on trends, discoveries of new era coins, or the general interest in coin collecting. But one constant remains: quality and rarity always command attention. The 1990 Washington quarter is proof of that. As we near the end of our deep dive, it's worth reflecting on why we find coins so fascinating. They are small, everyday objects, yet they carry with them immense value, not just monetary, but historical, cultural, and sentimental. Each coin connects us to the past and reminds us of the countless stories that shaped its journey. And for the 1990 Washington quarter, some of those stories end in surprising places, like auction houses, collectors' showcases, and numismatic history books. So, if you happen to come across a 1990 quarter in pristine condition or notice one with a unique error, don't dismiss it as just pocket change. It might be one of the rare and extraordinary examples that numismatists are searching for. And as collectors know, sometimes the difference between 25 cents and a small fortune is only a matter of careful observation. And now, the moment you've been waiting for, the record price that one of these quarters has reached. Believe it or not, a rare 1990 Washington quarter dollar has been sold for an astounding $33,476. The world of coins has always fascinated collectors, historians, and treasure seekers alike. Each small piece of metal tells a story of the past, a glimpse into the craftsmanship of its era, and a reminder that even everyday pocket change can hold extraordinary secrets. Today we are diving into the intriguing world of United States coinage, focusing on one special issue that has sparked curiosity among collectors: the 1998 Philadelphia Mint Mark Washington quarter dollar. At first glance, it might seem like just another modern quarter, the kind you might have used at a vending machine or for parking meters in the late 1990s. But as with so many coins, the deeper you look, the more you begin to uncover hidden value, history, and the possibility of incredible fortune. To understand the significance of the 1998 quarter, we must first step back into the history of the Washington quarter itself. Introduced in 1932 to commemorate the bicentennial of George Washington's birth, the quarter was never meant to become a permanent series. The original plan was to issue it only for that year. However, the coin quickly became popular with the public, and its design was adopted as the standard quarter going forward. For decades, the Washington quarter carried the familiar portrait of the nation's first president on the obverse, while the reverse displayed the majestic eagle, wings spread, perched proudly. This design endured for generations, becoming one of the most recognizable coins in America. By the 1990s, quarters were minted in the millions every year, with the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints producing enormous numbers to meet circulation demands. For 1998 specifically, the Philadelphia Mint produced over 1.7 billion quarters, which is an astonishing number. With so many struck, you might assume that these coins are common and hold little to no value beyond their face denomination. For the majority of them, that assumption would be correct. But in the world of coin collecting, rarity isn't just about how many coins were minted. It's about how many survived in pristine condition, how many carry unique errors, and how many slip through the cracks of quality control with something special that makes them stand out. That is where the story of the 1998 Philadelphia quarter becomes exciting. Collectors today seek out 1998 quarters for several reasons. One of the most obvious is the fact that it represents the last of an era. Just 1 year later, in 1999, the United States launched the famous 50-state quarters program, which replaced the traditional eagle reverse with rotating designs celebrating each state. This program sparked one of the greatest booms in coin collecting history, drawing millions of new hobbyists into the fold. Because of this, the 1998 quarter holds the special place of being the last full year of the traditional eagleback Washington quarter. That makes it historically significant as the end of a chapter in U.S. coinage. Beyond history, condition plays a massive role in value. The vast majority of 1998 quarters entered circulation almost immediately. They clinked around in cash registers, were tossed into coin jars, and passed hands countless times in everyday transactions. As a result, most of these coins show heavy wear, scratches, dings, and discoloration. To a collector, such circulated examples generally hold no special value. But if a coin has survived in near-perfect condition, untouched by circulation, the story changes entirely. A 1998 Philadelphia quarter graded at the highest levels by professional grading services can fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Why? Because it is rare to find such a modern coin in flawless mint state. Even more exciting are the varieties and mint errors. Errors occur when something goes wrong during the minting process. Sometimes the planchet, the blank piece of metal, may be struck off-center, leaving part of the design missing. Other times, the coin may feature doubled elements, such as letters or numbers appearing to overlap due to a misalignment. There are even instances where coins are struck on the wrong metal planchets, leading to remarkable rarities. With billions of quarters struck in 1998, mistakes inevitably happened, and those mistakes can turn an ordinary coin into a collector's dream. For example, collectors have reported off-center strikes where part of George Washington's head is missing, or the eagle's wings appear cut off at odd angles. There are also quarters with noticeable die cracks, creating raised lines across the surface, almost like scars etched into the coin. These era coins are highly sought after, and their values can soar far above face value. The thrill of coin collecting often comes from discovering these oddities, and the 1998 Philadelphia quarter provides plenty of opportunities for that. Another reason collectors are drawn to this coin is nostalgia. The late 1990s was a transitional period in American culture. Technology was advancing rapidly, the internet was just beginning to shape daily life, and the new millennium was on the horizon. The 1998 quarter is, in many ways, a token of that era, a reminder of a simpler time when a quarter could buy you a gumball, a phone call, or a turn on an arcade machine. To collectors who grew up in that time, holding on to a 1998 quarter in perfect condition is like preserving a piece of their own history. So, how do you know if you might have a valuable 1998 Philadelphia quarter in your possession? The first step is to examine the coin closely. Look for the small letter P on the obverse side, near Washington's ponytail, which indicates it was minted in Philadelphia. Next, consider the coin's condition. If it has been heavily circulated, with scratches and worn-down details, it is unlikely to be worth much more than face value. But if it still gleams with its original luster, showing sharp details and minimal marks, it might be worth having graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC. Coins that grade at MS67 or higher are where the true value lies. Another key thing to look for is doubling or unusual features. A magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe can help reveal small details. Are the letters in the word Liberty slightly doubled? Does the date appear blurred or shadowed? Is the eagle's feathering sharp and even, or does it show signs of striking errors? Each small detail can make a massive difference in determining the coin's value. Of course, finding a 1998 Philadelphia quarter in pristine condition or with a dramatic error is not easy. Many collectors have searched through thousands of coins without finding anything out of the ordinary. That is part of the thrill. It is like a treasure hunt, with the chance of striking gold always driving the search. And for those lucky enough to discover a high-grade specimen or a rare error, the payoff can be astonishing. What makes this coin especially exciting is the fact that most people overlook it. Ask the average person about rare coins, and they might mention old silver dollars, gold pieces, or colonial coppers. Few would ever suspect that a relatively recent quarter from the 1990s could be worth serious money. That element of surprise adds to the allure. It means that in pockets, coin jars, and dresser drawers across America, there may still be undiscovered treasures waiting to be recognized. In the grand scheme of coin collecting, the 1998 Philadelphia quarter may not seem as glamorous as a century-old gold coin, but it embodies the essence of the hobby. It shows us that rarity, condition, and history can transform something ordinary into something extraordinary. It reminds us to look closer at the world around us, to pay attention to details, and to never underestimate the potential of even the most common items. And it gives us the joy of discovery, the thrill of knowing that hidden among billions, there could be one coin that sets itself apart from all the rest. Collectors will continue to search for these treasures, and stories of remarkable finds will fuel the passion for generations. If you come across a 1998 Philadelphia Washington quarter, take the time to study it carefully. You never know what you might be holding in your hand. It could be nothing more than 25 cents, or it could be a hidden gem with a story and value far greater than its humble face. And speaking of value, the most extraordinary recorded price for a 1998 Philadelphia Mint Mark Washington quarter dollar reached an astonishing $29,378. Welcome back everyone to World Information HD, where we dive deep into the fascinating universe of coins, currency, and hidden treasures that might be sitting unnoticed right in your pocket change. Today, we are about to uncover the secrets, stories, and unbelievable value behind the United States of America 2013 No Mint Mark Lincoln 1-cent penny. At first glance, it looks like any other modern penny you might get in your daily transactions, but as history and collectors have proven time and time again, appearances can be deceiving. some of the rarest and most valuable coins in America's history look so ordinary that millions of people unknowingly spend them every single day, never realizing they're letting go of a small fortune. To truly appreciate why a 2013 no-mint mark penny can be so important, we need to begin by going back into the history of the Lincoln cent. The penny has been a symbol of American currency since 1909, when the first Lincoln cent was released to honor the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. Before that, American 1-cent coins featured the Indian head design, but President Theodore Roosevelt wanted to reform the look of U.S. coins to be more artistic and meaningful. The result was the now famous Lincoln portrait, designed by Victor David Brenner, which has remained on the coin for over a century. It became the first circulating U.S. coin to feature the face of a real historical person, and Abraham Lincoln was the perfect figure to represent honesty, unity, and strength during a time when America was still healing from the Civil War. The Lincoln cent went through many changes throughout the decades. For more than 50 years, the reverse design carried the 2 wheat stalks, which gave the coin its popular nickname, the wheat penny. From 1959 until 2008, the reverse featured the Lincoln Memorial, and in 2009, 4 special designs were released to celebrate Lincoln's bicentennial. Finally, beginning in 2010, the U.S. Mint introduced the Union Shield reverse design that you see on the modern pennies today. The 2013 no-mint mark Lincoln cent is part of this Union Shield series. The shield design represents Lincoln's preservation of the United States as one nation, indivisible, and features a banner with the words, 1 cent, across it, along with the motto, E pluribus unum, which means, out of many, one. Now, let's take a closer look at the details of this coin. The obverse, or front, of the 2013 Lincoln cent features the familiar bust of President Lincoln facing right. The word Liberty is inscribed to the left, and the date, 2013, is clearly marked on the right. Above Lincoln's head is the national motto, In God We Trust. If your penny has no mint mark under the date, that means it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Interestingly, for many years the Philadelphia Mint did not use a mint mark on the cent, which is why pennies from Philadelphia are often referred to as no mint mark pennies. The reverse side is where the shield design comes into play. It's a bold, simple, yet powerful image that ties into the very core of American history. The shield has 13 vertical stripes representing the original colonies, joined together under a single horizontal bar, symbolizing unity under the federal government. Across the shield is a banner that reads, 1 cent, and above it is, United States of America. This design makes the coin more than just currency. It's also a piece of history and national pride, carrying symbolism that connects back to the founding of the nation. You might be wondering, if billions of these pennies were made in 2013, why should collectors care about a no-mint mark version? After all, it seems like the most common type. The answer lies in rarity within quality, errors, and collector demand. While the Philadelphia Mint produced a massive number of these coins, only a small fraction survive in perfect condition, with sharp details, brilliant luster, and absolutely no signs of wear. These coins, graded at the highest levels by professional grading services, are the ones that can fetch high prices in the collector's market. Error coins are another fascinating aspect of the 2013 penny. Sometimes during the minting process, small mistakes occur. Planchets may be struck off-center, double dies may create a doubled image on the lettering, or the metal may have small cracks and blemishes. To the average person, these errors might look like imperfections, but to collectors, they represent uniqueness and rarity. A single error penny can sometimes be worth dozens, hundreds, or even thousands of dollars depending on the type of mistake and its visibility. Now, let's talk about what makes modern pennies so collectible. Unlike older coins that were struck in higher percentages of copper, modern pennies since 1982 are composed mostly of zinc with a thin copper coating. That means these coins are far less durable, and they corrode more easily. As a result, finding a 2013 no-mint mark Lincoln cent in flawless condition is much harder than it might seem. A coin straight out of circulation is likely to have scratches, discoloration, or dings from contact with other coins. But the very few that have been preserved in pristine, Uncirculated condition, often discovered in original bank rolls or mint sets, are the ones that spark intense interest at auctions and among serious collectors. Another important factor is grading. Professional grading services like PCGS and NGC evaluate coins under strict conditions, using magnification and specialized lighting to determine a coin's grade. A penny that earns a grade of MS65 or higher is considered gem quality, and coins at MS68 or MS69 are extremely rare. These high-grade coins can command astonishing prices, especially when demand is strong among collectors. Some of the most impressive auction results for modern pennies have shocked even seasoned experts. It's fascinating to think about how many people might have one of these valuable coins sitting in a jar, hidden in a drawer, or rolling around in their car's cup holder, completely unaware of its potential value. This is why it pays to check your change closely. A 2013 no-mint Mark Lincoln cent could look completely ordinary, but under the right conditions, it could be a hidden treasure worth far more than a single cent beyond monetary value. Coins like these also hold a kind of historical and emotional worth. Imagine handing down a collection that includes a rare penny like this to your children or grandchildren. For them, it's not just a coin, it's a tangible piece of history, a reminder of American resilience, and a symbol of the enduring legacy of Abraham Lincoln. Collectors often talk about the thrill of discovery, the excitement of holding something rare and unique that connects them with both the past and the present. That's the magic of numismatics, the study and collection of coins. So, as you go about your daily life, keep an eye on your pennies. That little coin you almost ignore could actually be worth far more than you think. And now, for the moment you've been waiting for, the value. A United States of America 2013 no-mint Mark Lincoln 1-cent penny in the highest condition and with collector demand has been known to reach an incredible price of $10,000. Welcome back to World Information HD, the place where knowledge meets excitement, and where the smallest details can lead to the biggest surprises. Today we're diving into a modern coin that may not look like much at first glance, but trust me, by the end of this video, you'll never look at your pocket change the same way again. We are going to uncover the fascinating story behind the United States of America 2018 no-mint Mark Lincoln 1-cent penny. When you think of valuable coins, your mind might instantly travel back in time. You may picture coins from the early 1900s, or even the 1800s, old copper pieces, silver dollars, or rare gold coins. But what if I told you that a modern penny, one struck as recently as 2018, could be worth an unbelievable fortune? This may sound hard to believe, but it's absolutely true, and that's exactly why collectors, treasure hunters, and even ordinary people are paying more attention to the coins they carry in their wallets and jars at home. Now let's set the stage. The Lincoln cent, also known as the Lincoln penny, is one of the most iconic coins in American history. First introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln, this penny became the longest-running coin design in the history of the United States. Over the years, the design has changed slightly, most notably the reverse side, which originally featured two wheat stalks, later replaced by the Lincoln Memorial in 1959, and then the Union Shield in 2010. But through all these changes, Lincoln's portrait on the front has remained a constant symbol of strength, leadership, and history. By the time we reached 2018, the Lincoln penny had already been in circulation for over 100 years. It was struck in the billions, made primarily of zinc with a thin copper coating. In fact, to the average person, the 2018 penny is just one of those coins you might toss into a piggy bank, or perhaps even ignore when you see it lying on the ground. After all, it's just a penny. But here's where the story gets fascinating. While billions of pennies were made in 2018, not all of them are equal. Some carry errors, rare features, and conditions so pristine that they can turn what looks like a common coin into a hidden gem worth thousands of dollars. One key thing you'll notice about the 2018 Lincoln penny is the mint mark, or in some cases, the lack of one. Most coins struck in Philadelphia don't carry a mint mark at all, which is why you'll often see the term "no mint mark" used. For newer collectors, this can be confusing. They might assume something is wrong with their coin if it has no letter beneath the date, but in reality, that's completely normal for coins struck in Philadelphia. The trick is that within those billions of Philadelphia minted pennies, there can be rare varieties and errors that make a specific coin stand out like a diamond in the rough. Collectors know this, and that's why they are constantly examining 2018 pennies, especially those with no mint mark. You may be wondering, what kind of features or characteristics could make such a new penny valuable? Let's explore. First, condition is king in coin collecting. A 2018 penny that has been in circulation, scratched, dented, or dulled by years of use will usually only be worth face value. However, a coin that looks like it just rolled off the press, with bright luster, sharp details, and absolutely no signs of wear, can fetch a premium. Collectors call these coins mint state examples. When they are graded by professional coin grading services and receive a high score, such as MS67, MS68, or even higher, their value skyrockets. Think of it like grading a diamond. Clarity, cut, and perfection all matter. Next, let's talk about errors and varieties. This is where things get really exciting. Sometimes, during the minting process, small mistakes occur. Maybe the die used to strike the coin cracks or doubles slightly. Maybe the planchet, the blank piece of metal the coin is struck on, has a flaw, or perhaps the alignment is off. These mistakes can produce what's known as error coins. Far from being undesirable, error coins are actually some of the most sought-after treasures in the numismatic world. A doubled die error, where the design appears doubled because of a misalignment in the die, can make a penny instantly more valuable. Off-center strikes, missing details, or even a wrong planchet error, where a penny is mistakenly struck on the wrong type of metal, can transform a 1-cent piece into a coin worth hundreds or thousands. So why specifically the 2018 no mint mark penny? Well, collectors have noticed that certain 2018 issues, especially from Philadelphia, are harder to find in top condition. And on top of that, some error varieties from that year have been documented and have driven collectors into a frenzy. Add in the sheer popularity of Lincoln cents. Remember, they are the most collected coin in the world, and you've got the perfect recipe for modern rarities being worth serious money. It's important to remember that rarity alone doesn't make a coin valuable. It's the combination of rarity, demand, and condition. Think about it. If only a few coins exist with a certain error, and thousands of collectors are chasing them, the competition naturally drives up the price. Imagine walking into a convenience store, buying a drink, and receiving change that includes a shiny 2018 penny. Most people wouldn't think twice about it. But what if that penny in your hand was one of those rare, highly graded examples, or perhaps an error coin? Without even realizing it, you could be holding a small fortune between your fingers. And this is the beauty of coin collecting. It's like a treasure hunt that anyone can participate in. You don't need to be a millionaire to start. All you need is curiosity, patience, and the willingness to look closely at the coins you already have. Every coin tells a story, and sometimes that story ends with incredible value. Now, let's dive a little deeper into how collectors actually evaluate these coins. When a 2018 penny with no mint mark is found in exceptional condition, the next step is often to send it to a grading service like PCGS or NGC. These professional graders will examine the coin under magnification, checking for details like strike sharpness, luster, and the presence, or absence, of blemishes. The coin then receives a grade on a 70-point scale, with 70 representing absolute perfection. Coins that score MS68 or higher are considered nearly flawless, and they can command huge premiums at auction. Auction houses and online marketplaces have seen surprising results when these coins come up for bidding. Collectors eager to add the finest examples to their collections will compete fiercely, driving prices higher and higher. What started as a simple penny becomes a prized possession, carefully preserved in a protective holder and admired for both its beauty and its rarity. But here's where the real excitement lies. It's not just wealthy collectors who can stumble upon these coins. Ordinary people, just like you, have found them in circulation, in jars at home, or even tucked away in rolls of coins from the bank. Imagine opening a bank roll of pennies, expecting nothing more than pocket change, and suddenly discovering a near-perfect example of a 2018 no-mint Mark Lincoln cent. That moment of discovery is priceless. Coin collecting is full of stories like this, stories of everyday people turning spare change into extraordinary finds. And that's why knowledge is so important. By learning what to look for, you give yourself the chance to participate in this modern treasure hunt. So the next time you see a penny lying on the ground, don't just walk past it. Pick it up. Look closely. Check the date, examine the details, and pay attention to whether there's a mint mark. You never know what secrets that tiny coin may hold. In the case of the 2018 no-mint Mark Lincoln 1-cent penny, the potential is real. While billions were minted, only a handful will ever reach that elite status of being truly rare, highly graded, or carrying a unique error. And those are the coins that collectors are willing to pay top dollar for. It's almost poetic when you think about it. A coin that represents the lowest denomination in American currency, often ignored, overlooked, or even discarded, has the potential to become something of great value. It's a reminder that sometimes the smallest things in life can surprise us the most. Now, for the moment you've been waiting for. Just how much can one of these seemingly ordinary 2018 no-mint Mark Lincoln pennies be worth? Well, believe it or not, an exceptional example of this coin has sold for an astonishing $12,387.